Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. And this was Monday Night Raw's go-home show for Money in the Bank, which is this Saturday. And Monday Night Raw tonight, I thought it was a good show in my opinion. Really enjoyed Monday Night Raw tonight. We got, a lot of, good matches on the show tonight. We had Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross. We had Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega for the Women's World Championship. We had the Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match, Zoey Stark versus Dakota versus Nile. And, this was a final match to determine who would be the last woman to get qualified in Money in the Bank. We also had Rey Mysterio versus Dominik Mysterio once again. And I am so over of seeing Rey and Dom go at it. Over it. And the main event, we had a Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match to determine who would be the last, guy to qualify for the Money in the Bank match. So we had Drew McIntyre versus Ilja Dragunov versus Sheamus. And man, oh man, wait until I talk about that match. Just absolutely, these guys, gave it all they got here. But overall, Monday Night Raw, very good show it was tonight. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw open up tonight with Mr. Yeet. Main event, Jey Uso. Jey Uso was in the arena's concourse area, of the TD Garden. And he walked through the fans. The fans were going crazy for Jey Uso. Jey Uso was fired up. He looked into the camera, and he told the production team to play his music. So the camera then followed Jey Uso into the arena. He made his entrance. Jey Uso ended up going through the crowd. The crowd was all fired up in that arena for Jey. They were doing the Jey Uso. He had a lot of the Fireflies come out. So Jey Uso ended up popping over the barricade. Jey Uso then went over to the commentary table, and he ended up slapping hands with both Michael Cole, who was excited to see Jey Uso, and also Corey Graves was on commentary. Yes, Pat McAfee is still out because his father-in-law ended up passing away, so he wasn't on Monday Night Raw last week, and he wasn't on the show tonight for commentary. But I like that we got Michael Cole and Corey Graves back on Monday Night Raw, doing commentary together. So we had the crowd end up chanting Yeet at Jey Uso. Jey got on the mic. He kept saying, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw." He kept saying Money in the Bank is this Saturday, and only one person is going to snatch that contract. It's not going to be Carmelo Hayes. It's not going to be Andrade. It's not going to be LA Knight. Yeah! It's not going to be Chad Gable. Jey Uso ended up saying that you're looking at the new Mr. Money in the Bank. And his name is Main Event Jey Uso. Yeet! So then Chad Gable ended up coming out. Chad Gable made his way out, and he was in a suit. Gable got on the mic. He ended up saying that he has heard enough of the word yeet. To which the crowd ended up chanting, yeet. So Chad Gable ended up saying, "For your information, you Boston idiots." Yeah, he called the fans there in Boston idiots. He ended up saying to the fans in Boston that yeet isn't even a word. He ended up saying what is a word is miracle. Gable ended up saying that if you look it up in a dictionary, you'll find his picture next to the word miracle. Chad Gable ended up saying what he's done in the last 2 weeks is nothing short of miraculous. He ended up saying that he overcame an attack by the Wyatt Six, his family leaving him. And he overcame 2 monsters last week to punch his ticket to Money in the Bank. Gable ended up saying that he will pull off another miracle by climbing the ladder and taking the briefcase to become Master Money in the Bank. Chad Gable then got into the ring, and Jay ended up asking Gable what he is doing. He ended up saying, "Oh, did the Wyatts get him already?" Chad Gable ended up saying that he's not scared of the Wyatt Six. And his body language says something different. Gable ended up saying that Jay stole the Fireflies. So Gable ended up saying that he is an innocent man and that they should be after Jey Uso, the man who abandoned his family. Of course, he was saying that the Wyatts should be after Jay. So Jay ended up saying that he didn't steal the Fireflies. And the only thing Gable's family did is what he did, which is get out from under a manipulative scumbag like him. So then Gable ended up viciously attacking Jay with some right hands. Jay started fighting back with some right hands to Gable. He ended up doing a quick gyration and rocked Gable with another right hand. Jay then super kicked Gable down. He headed to the top rope to try to deliver a Uso splash, but Gable ended up rolling away. Gable ended up saying that he's not stupid and won't just lay there to be splashed. He didn't say this on the mic. The camera picked it up, so we heard that from Gable. And all of a sudden, the lights end up going out in the arena. And we heard that piano key ended up hitting, and the ring filled with smoke. So Jey Uso wasn't in the ring. Crowd was chanting "Holy shit," which it got censored. Just awful how the way they censor. You know, when the crowd chants "Holy shit, holy shit." When they censor it, it's like "Holy, holy." It is so absolutely annoying and awful. I cannot wait until Monday Night Raw is on Netflix. I can't. January has to come fast for next year. But Gable ended up retreating through the crowd. He ended up turning to see a figure stand in a bright light. He then backed away and he worriedly looked around. So on the stage, we saw a man in the bunny mask. Gable then kept walking away. He saw another figure standing in the light. Gable then jumped into the crowd. He went back up the steps to the concourse. And of course, at ringside, we had Nikki Cross. She ended up walking up to the commentary table. Of course, once again, just like last week, the security were laid out on the commentary table for no reason. Even last week, when Nikki Cross delivered that VHS to Michael Cole in that box, I'm like, how did the security get passed out like that? How did they get laid out on the commentary table? So Nikki Cross walked up to the commentary table. She put another package in front of Michael Cole, which obviously was another VHS tape. So same what she did last week. And pretty much that was basically that. But overall, I thought this was a very good opening to Monday Night Raw here. Jey Uso coming out there. The Boston crowd was fired up to see Jey Uso. And the Boston crowd was really good throughout the night here. They made a lot of noise for those 3 hours. And, Boston, the Boston crowd, when WWE comes there, it's one of those fired up crowds, just like, here in New York. So, but all this stuff with Chad Gable and the Wyatt Six, it's interesting. But very good opening to Monday Night Raw here. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Michael Cole was shown he pulled out another VHS tape that was in the box. So we saw that. And we had the first match of the night. Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross. And this was a okay match here. Of course, we saw, the clip from last week on Raw where we had the Final Testament, Authors of Pain, end up attacking Xavier Woods backstage. And, that caused Karrion Kross to beat Kofi Kingston last week. So we saw that little recap. But of course, Karrion Kross was accompanied by, the Authors of Pain, Scarlett, and Paul Ellering. Of course, Kofi Kingston accompanied Xavier Woods. Match ended up getting on the way. Karrion Kross walked to the center of the ring. He extended his hand to Xavier Woods for Xavier to shake his hand. But Woods refused to shake Kross's hand. And so he chopped at Kross's chest. Kross ended up reversing the whip into the opposite corner. Kross then ended up hitting a quarter clothesline to Woods and then a back elbow. Kross then connected with Explorer Suplex to Woods. He started stomping away at Woods. Woods popped up and threw some punches to Kross. Kross ended up cutting Woods off, and he started choking Woods on the middle rope. Woods then connected with a plancha to Kross. Woods then pulled Kross up to his feet, and he chopped at Kross's chest. Kross then reversed the whip into the ring post, but Woods ended up, putting the brakes on. Kross ended up quickly cutting Woods off and ended up hitting a powerbomb to Woods into the ring post. And as Kross put Woods down, Kross ended up nearly spiking Woods on his head at ringside. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Woods was shown trapped in the overhead wrist lock by Kross. So both Woods and Kross, they began exchanging some strikes to each other in the center of the ring. So Woods ended up chopping away at Kross. Kross reversed the whip, but Woods ended up sliding through Kross's legs, and he ended up hitting a running forearm. Woods then ended up hitting a running forearm in the corner, and he started up the 10 punches to Kross. Kross ended up shoving Woods off as, he ended up hitting a 6 punch. So Woods ended up super kicking Kross. So Woods ended up rolling to the apron to recover because Kross ended up hitting a headbutt to Woods. Woods then ended up pushing Kross off and kicked him in the head. Woods headed to the top rope. Paul Ellering was shouting at Woods. Woods ended up leaping, and Kross then forearmed Woods in the face out of midair, which looked absolutely good. Kross then ended up standing over Woods. Kross ended up pulling Woods up, and Woods surprised Kross with an inside cradle. And so with that, Xavier Woods ended up getting the win. So post-match, Woods and Kofi ended up celebrating in the ring. Akam and Razor, the Authors of Pain, ended up attacking both Woods and Kofi from behind. Akam sent Woods out of the ring. Razor ended up pulling Kofi up, and he ended up throwing Kofi. Razor ended up charging, but Kofi ended up pulling the top rope down to get Razor out of the ring. Kofi then ended up hitting the ropes to deliver a dive, but Kross ended up cutting Kofi off with a cross hammer. So then AOP ended up slamming Woods into the barricade. Kross then injured Kofi by applying a overhead wrist lock on him. So Scarlett and Paul Ellering, they got into the ring. They ended up watching on. They were pleased at, Kross, applying that overhead wrist lock on Kofi. So then we saw the whole Final Testament stood tall in the ring. And pretty much that was basically that. overall, this was an okay match here between Woods and Karrion Kross here. And then we had Damian Priest. Damian Priest was walking backstage with Dominik Mysterio. Priest ended up saying to Dominik that tonight is a big night, and hopefully he will be done with his dad once and for all. Priest then ended up asking if Dom talked to Rhea Ripley. Dominik ended up telling Priest that he did talk to Rhea Ripley, and she's good. Priest ended up saying that Rhea Ripley's not great because he just spoke to her. Priest ended up saying to Dominik that Rhea is pissed. Dominik ended up saying that he's going to handle this Liv Morgan situation. Priest then ended up saying Dominik says that every week, and nothing has happened. So Dominik ended up saying to Priest that this Liv Morgan thing isn't even his fault. So then they walked into the clubhouse. And when they walked in, Liv Morgan was hanging out with Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Carlito was also there. Carlito and McDonough were playing the PS5 that Liv Morgan ended up gifting Dominik last week. And also the McNuggets. We saw McNuggets last week. Both the PS5 and the McNuggets were present tonight. So Liv Morgan ended up saying that her title match is coming up, and that she wants to wish Daddy Dom luck. So then she walked off. Priest then ended up telling Balor having Liv Morgan in the clubhouse isn't cool, and that it has to stop. Balor then ended up saying to Priest that whatever he thinks about Liv Morgan, she helped bring the tag team titles back to the Judgment Day last week when they ended up beating Truth and Miz. So Balor ended up saying that the real issue is Damian Priest himself. He ended up saying that Priest put his spot in the Judgment Day in jeopardy, and that they didn't like what he had to say to Seth Rollins, saying that Judgment Day needs him more than he needs them. So that's going to play into a factor there, with Damian Priest, leaving the Judgment Day. So Priest ended up saying to Balor that they're not his sidekicks, but he didn't say anything wrong. He's the world champion. Of course they need him more. So we had Priest end up saying that he has faith in himself, and that he knows he can beat Rollins, and will do that. Balor ended up saying that he knows Priest well. As his brother, he'll always have his back. As his brother, he'll also tell him the truth. So Balor ended up saying to Priest that ever since he won the World Heavyweight Championship, he's changed. So Balor then walked off. Priest didn't even, like what Balor had to say, that, ever since he won the title, he's changed. But overall, it was a good segment here. Obviously, this is leading to, of course, Damian Priest, leaving the Judgment Day. So then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Cathy Kelley. Cathy Kelley was backstage with Zelina Vega. Cathy Kelley ended up asking Zelina Vega if she's considered Dominik Mysterio's offer to help her beat Liv Morgan this week. Zelina Vega then told Cathy Kelley that she's not interested in chasing Dirty D. She's interested in becoming the Women's World Champion, and will show everyone what a real champion looks like. So Zelina Vega made her entrance, and she had the Puerto Rican flag, that she was wearing, the black and white Puerto Rican flag. So she made her way out, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, the match ended up getting underway. Zelina Vega versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. Of course, they showed a video where Liv Morgan threw out the first pitch before, the Boston Red Sox game yesterday at Fenway. So we ended up seeing that. And this match, I thought it was surprisingly decent. So the match ended up getting away. You had Liv Morgan wearing a shirt that said "Liv's finally on top," which of course is similar to Rhea Ripley's "Mommy's always on top" shirt. So Liv Morgan ended up quickly taking Zelina Vega down. Vega ended up coming back with a pair of arm drags to Liv Morgan. Zelina Vega then springboarded off the ropes, ended up hitting another arm drag to Liv. Liv ended up quickly shoving Zelina Vega into the corner, and she ended up pulling on Zelina Vega's hair and stretched Zelina Vega on the ropes. So Liv Morgan then attacked Zelina Vega on the top rope and set up for a superplex. But Zelina Vega ended up fighting out of that. Vega ended up hitting a 619 to Liv's legs to knock her down to the canvas. Zelina then knocked Liv back. She ended up going to the apron, but Liv ended up drop kicking Zelina Vega to the floor. And that led to Dominik Mysterio walking to ringside. Of course, he got boos from the crowd. Liv Morgan was happy to see Dominik come out. She had the biggest smile on her face. So Liv Morgan ended up going to ringside, and Zelina Vega ended up hitting her with an arm drag, and that was followed up by a meteor off the apron to Liv from Zelina. And Rey Mysterio then came down to ensure that his son doesn't interfere in the match. So that's when Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Zelina Vega was in control of the match. She started punching Liv. Liv ended up cutting Zelina off with a knee to her midsection. So we had Liv end up hitting the Three Amigos, which looked awful, how the way she did them. So Liv Morgan then applied the Prism Trap. Of course, Rhea Ripley's, move there to Zelina Vega. And then you heard Liv Morgan say, "Hi, Rhea," when she was using the Prism Trap. So Zelina Vega ended up rolling through to send Liv Morgan into the turnbuckles. Vega ended up rolling Liv up, and she ended up hitting a spin kick to Liv's face. Zelina ended up getting Liv Morgan in the corner and kicked her in the face. She then ended up hitting a stomp to Liv's spine before pulling her up. Zelina then ended up kicking Liv down and positioned her in the corner. Zelina ended up going to the top rope, and she ended up hitting a moonsault to Liv. She ended up going for the cover, to which Liv ended up kicking out. So Zelina Vega ended up kicking Liv in the face. She ended up going for the code red, but Liv ended up sitting on Zelina's shoulders, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Zelina ended up kicking out. Liv ended up hitting a run enziguri. She ended up going for the cover, and Zelina Vega ended up kicking out. So Dominik ended up appearing to smirk because Liv Morgan blew a kiss to him. Liv Morgan ended up putting Zelina Vega on the top rope, and this led to the crowd ended up chanting, "Shave your mustache" to Dominik. So Zelina Vega ended up fighting Liv Morgan off and bounced her on the top turnbuckle. Zelina then ended up hitting the code red off the top rope to Liv Morgan, but Liv ended up rolling out of the ring to recover. So Zelina ended up going to ringside to get Liv, but Liv ended up shoving Zelina off. Liv ended up putting Vega in the ring. Rey approached Dominik and shoved him down. Liv then ended up hitting Rey with a baseball slide, and that led to Zelina Vega stunning Liv Morgan with the 619, and she followed up with a satellite DDT on Liv Morgan. So Zelina Vega went for the cover, and Liv ended up kicking out at 2. Zelina Vega ended up going for the cover again. Liv Morgan ended up kicking out. And so Dominik ended up getting a steel chair. He slid the chair into the ring to Zelina Vega. But Zelina Vega ended up throwing the chair into Dominik's face to knock him off the ring apron. Liv Morgan was irate, and that led to Liv Morgan ended up hitting Zelina Vega with the Oblivion. So Liv Morgan ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Liv Morgan wins the match, and she still retains the Women's World Championship. Post-match, Liv Morgan ended up following Dominik at ringside, but Dominik was trying to ignore Liv Morgan. Kathy Kelly then walked out to the stage and she ended up interviewing Liv Morgan. Kathy Kelly ended up asking Liv Morgan if she feels like everything is going according to plan on her revenge tour. Liv Morgan ended up telling Kathy Kelly that she feels like the luckiest girl in the world, and that the Liv Morgan revenge tour is going exactly how she planned. So Liv Morgan then dedicated her win and all future victories to the most gorgeous man in WWE, her daddy Dominik. So that was what Liv Morgan had to say. But overall, this was a surprisingly decent match between Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega here. But the real story of the match was continuing the whole drama with Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan. It just feels like we're getting closer to Rhea Ripley finally making her return. And when Rhea Ripley returns, that the Women's World Championship is going right back on her. Liv Morgan is just keeping that title hot until Rhea Ripley comes back. So she's just a transitional champion, Liv Morgan. So then we saw Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was complaining about going to the back of the line after he was screwed by CM Punk. Drew McIntyre ended up saying that he is at peace, and that if anyone gets in between him and his goal, he'll do to them what he did to Punk. He ended up saying that it starts tonight with Sheamus and Ilja Dragunov. McIntyre ended up saying that he will win, and then it'll go to Money in the Bank on Saturday. He ended up saying that there are a lot of guys with hopes and dreams, but he has dreams. McIntyre ended up saying that on Saturday, he'll climb the ladder and claim the contract. He ended up saying that it will be his night. McIntyre ended up saying that he will be the World Heavyweight Champion. He ended up saying, ask the last guy who stopped him. And McIntyre was like, oh wait, you can't. So McIntyre then held up his fist with Punk's bracelet around his wrist. The bracelet that he took off of Punk, and when he ended up laying out Punk, and Punk was all bloodied up. So, but really liking how they're building towards Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk when that match happens. This is absolutely awesome how the way they're building this. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins made his way to the ring, got a big ovation there in Boston. The crowd was going, whoa, singing along to his theme. So Rollins got on the mic, and he ended up greeting Boston. And he welcomed them to Monday Night Rollins. And of course, he did his shtick, where he goes, I am a revolutionary, I am a visionary, I am Seth frickin' Rollins. So Rollins ended up pointing out that there was some confetti dropping from the rafters. And yes, little bits of confetti were dropping. Rollins ended up saying that he thinks it's a sign that he'll be standing here as the World Heavyweight Champion next week. Rollins ended up saying that he wants to be real with Boston because he thinks they'll understand where this is coming from. Rollins ended up saying that he has a secret for them. He ended up saying that Boston is a championship city. They've got the Bruins, they've got the Red Sox, and the Pats. He ended up saying, judging by the remaining confetti, they have the 2024 NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. So the crowd ended up popping for that. They were like, let's go Celtics. So Rollins ended up saying that is well-deserved after an incredible season. He ended up saying that he needs to win back the World Heavyweight Championship and that he cannot settle for second best. He ended up saying that he cannot settle for anything less than the championship. Rollins ended up saying that if he doesn't beat Damian Priest at Money in the Bank, he can't take another crack at the World Heavyweight Championship while Priest holds it. He kept saying then he'll need to reevaluate who he is and his legacy. So Rollins ended up saying that he is at his very best when the pressure is highest. He ended up saying this Saturday at Money in the Bank, when he takes back the World Heavyweight Championship that Damian Priest has been keeping warm for him since WrestleMania, he'll also take Priest from the Judgment Day. Rollins ended up saying that it's not his intention to break up the Judgment Day. He ended up saying without the Judgment Day, Damian Priest has an opportunity to be the best version. So then that led to Finn Balor coming out. Finn Balor walked out to the stage by himself. Balor ended up telling Boston to say hello to one half of the World Tag Team Champions. So Balor ended up saying that he should be in a good mood tonight, but he's not. He ended up saying that he is in a bad mood. In fact, Balor ended up saying that he is in a real bad mood. Balor ended up saying that the reason is because everything around here seems to be changing. He ended up saying what it means to be in the Judgment Day is changing. He then ended up saying that Damian Priest is changing. So Balor ended up blaming Rollins for all this. Rollins then ended up telling Balor to shut up. He ended up saying that Priest is his own man and making his own decisions. Rollins ended up saying that he doesn't think Balor is mad at Priest for changing. Rollins ended up saying that Balor is just jealous of Damian Priest for getting the one thing that he couldn't, the World Heavyweight Championship. So Rollins ended up saying that his beef is with Priest, but if he wants to step up, he'll knock his teeth down his throat. So that led to the World Heavyweight Champion coming out, Damian Priest. Priest then charged down to ringside. Rollins then ended up saying, oh, this is a Judgment Day trap. He ended up saying they have one more week to be on the same side. So Rollins ended up telling them to make it worth it. Priest then ended up telling Rollins to stop being paranoid, because this isn't a trap. Priest and Balor then got into the ring. Priest walked up to Balor, and he ended up saying to Balor this is his business, and that nobody else is getting involved in his business. So Priest then stared Balor dead in his eyes. Balor then stepped aside. Priest ended up saying that this is about him and Rollins and just them. He ended up saying that Rollins is telling the world that his days as champion are numbered, but he's wrong. Priest ended up saying that this idea that Rollins has, that he runs Monday Night Raw, those days are numbered. Rollins ended up saying that they don't have to wait until Saturday night to get this fight on. So Rollins was set up for a fight with Priest. Balor then turned Rollins around, and we had Rollins end up, being down on Balor, and Rollins then looked at Priest. Balor then attacked Rollins from behind and started punching away at him. Priest then pulled Balor off. Rollins got up and he super kicked Priest into Balor. Rollins then kicked Balor in his midsection and he delivered the stomp to Balor. Priest ended up getting up and he dropped Rollins with a vicious South of Heaven. Priest then ended up checking on Balor and Priest helped Balor up. They both then walked together to the back, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was a good segment here, and I thought they did a good job building, with Rollins, teasing his ascent between both Priest and Balor. And I'm looking forward to the match here with Rollins and Damian Priest on Saturday. And then we had Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser ended up cutting a promo. Of course, he was injured last week during his match against Braun Breaker. So Kaiser ended up saying that after weeks of hard-fought battles and proving what he's capable of, including nearly beating Braun Breaker, Sheamus viciously attacked him from behind. He ended up saying that Sheamus wound up breaking his ribs. Kaiser ended up saying that after many years of accomplishments and people looking up to him, Sheamus finally showed his true colors. Kaiser ended up saying that Sheamus is nothing but a coward. He ended up saying before it was about beating Sheamus and making him a chapter of the story of the rise of him. Now it's more than that. Kaiser ended up saying that he will make it his goal to beat, embarrass, and humiliate Sheamus, and he will end the Celtic Warrior once and for all. So that was what Kaiser had to say. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Damian Priest. Damian Priest was helping Balor walk backstage. Priest ended up asking Balor, who was wobbly because of the stomp delivered by Seth Rollins, if he is okay. Balor ended up saying that he is alright. Priest ended up saying that he's glad that Balor is okay, but he needs Balor to stay out of the match at Money in the Bank. To which Balor ended up saying, yeah. So Priest ended up looking for a fist bump from Balor, but Balor ended up declining a fist bump to Priest. And pretty much that was that. And then we had the Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match. This was for the woman. Last woman to enter Money in the Bank here. Dakota Kai versus Zoey Stark versus Ivy Nile. And this was a decent match here, surprisingly. Match ended up getting underway. Dakota Kai ended up attacking Ivy Nile. Zoey Stark ended up kicking Dakota Kai in the head. Ivy Nile ended up taking Zoey Stark down, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Zoey Stark ended up kicking out at 1. Dakota Kai ended up sweeping Ivy Nile's feet and pulled her to the apron. And Dakota Kai ended up kicking Ivy Nile in the head. Stark ended up hitting Kai with a baseball slide, and she ended up getting her in the ring. Ivy Nile ended up drop kicking Zoey Stark down. Dakota Kai then attacked Ivy Nile. Nile ended up hitting Stark and Dakota Kai at the same time. Kai ended up following Nile into the corner and ended up kicking her. Stark then ended up hitting Dakota Kai with a springboard missile drop kick. She ended up going for the cover, to which Dakota Kai ended up kicking out. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, both Ivy Nile, Zoey Stark, and Dakota Kai were all on the top rope. Ivy Nile ended up hitting Zoey Stark and Dakota Kai with a double bulldog off the top rope, which was cool. Ivy Nile ended up hitting Dakota Kai with a back elbow and a run shoulder tackle. She then put Dakota Kai in the corner and drop kicked her. Ivy Nile then connected with a German suplex to Dakota Kai. Ivy Nile then ducked a right hand from Zoey Stark and ended up hitting a head scissors takeover, which was followed by a German suplex to Zoey Stark. Ivy Nile ended up grabbing Dakota Kai for a delayed vertical suplex, but Zoey Stark ended up pulling Dakota Kai down. Ivy Nile then ended up hitting Dakota Kai and Zoey Stark with a double German suplex. So then we saw Kairi Sane end up running down. Ivy Nile ended up scaring Kairi Sane away. Dakota Kai then ended up attacking Ivy Nile. And then we saw Alba Fire and Isla Dawn end up both attacking Kairi Sane. So Zoey Stark then ended up hitting Dakota Kai with the Z360. She ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Zoey Stark ended up winning the match. And she is the final entry into the Women's Money in the Bank Ladder Match. She is now joining Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, Io Sky, and Lyra Valkyria. But overall, decent Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match this was. Was surprised that Zoey Stark ended up getting the win because I was going with Dakota Kai. But I was surprised that Zoey Stark, won the match. But my pick to win the Women's Money in the Bank is going to be Tiffany Stratton. I think Tiffany Stratton is going to, win Money in the Bank this year. I mean, she rightfully deserves it. And look how the way she is being booked. She is a star, Tiffany Stratton. So she deserves to hold the Money in the Bank. And then we saw the reveal of the contents of the VHS from the Wyatt Six. So Bo Dallas was shown sitting with Uncle Howdy. Of course, Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas, his alter ego. And really liked how the way they did it last week with the whole VHS style to it. Very nostalgic. You see the lines, from a VHS tape, if you played it, too much. So Bo Dallas ended up asking how much longer they'll keep doing this. Uncle Howdy just stared at Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas ended up asking Uncle Howdy what he's doing here. Uncle Howdy ended up asking Bo Dallas, do you honestly believe you brought me to life? So Bo Dallas ended up saying that he was destined to do this. He was contemplating Uncle Howdy's question. So Uncle Howdy ended up asking if Bo Dallas thinks he's special. Bo Dallas ended up saying that special implies that there are others who are less than and deserve to be forgotten. He ended up saying that they're the ones everyone wanted to forget about and abandon. He ended up saying that they made them notice them. Uncle Howdy ended up saying, there you are. To which Bo Dallas ended up saying they are clay in the hands of a potter. That they've become a family. So Bo Dallas ended up saying, we've become a family. So Uncle Howdy ended up sinisterly smiling, and Bo Dallas ended up saying, even now, there are false prophets berating their own family for their own gain, and that's disgusting, and that they must pay for their sins. So Uncle Howdy ended up asking if Bo Dallas thinks this is his responsibility, to which Bo Dallas ended up saying, I am the voice of the reckoning. So Uncle Howdy ended up saying, I am the reckoning. So both Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy end up saying together, I am nobody. And they set them free and freed them from the cave. They gave them a family and made them beautiful. So Uncle Howdy then disappeared, and Bo Dallas was sin alone. Bo Dallas ended up saying, I set them free. So then Uncle Howdy ended up appearing again, and Bo Dallas disappeared. Uncle Howdy ended up saying, there you are. And the video ended. But there are so many questions, right now with this. But I thought this was very good. I like how the way that, they're doing this, with the Wyatt Six, with Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy, they're just, sitting there, I really like it. I thought that the video was very well done. And it's a little clear why they targeted Chad Gable. And then we saw Chad Gable as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. Chad Gable walked up to Otis. Otis was eating and catering. Gable ended up asking if Otis saw the new Wyatt Six video. Gable ended up thinking that they were talking about him. Gable ended up saying that he has been critical of Otis and his choices. He ended up saying that the things he said were hurtful, and he knows that Otis hates him. Otis ended up saying to Chad Gable, I don't hate you. We're not helping you. This is not our problem. This is yours. So Gable ended up saying that they're after him right now. But who could be next? He ended up saying that it could be Akira Tozawa, Maxine, or Otis himself. So Gable ended up saying that if that happens, he'll be right with him, because Otis is his number one guy. So then Maxine Dupree and Akira Tozawa walked up to Otis. They ended up asking Otis if he's okay, to which Otis ended up saying that he is. And that was that. But Otis is not going to help, Chad Gable after, what Gable done to him, Maxine Dupree, and Akira Tozawa. But little by little, this is going to lead into Chad Gable, lining with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, and that'll be your new Alpha Academy. And then we have Rey Mysterio versus his son, Dominik. Father versus son. And even though this was a decent match, how many times have we seen Rey and Dom go at it? I am so over this feud between Rey and Dom. It all started at WrestleMania last year, where they end up having Rey and Dom go at it on night one, which of course Rey Mysterio ended up defeating his son at WrestleMania last year. So the match ended up getting in the way. They end up locking up. Rey ended up flipping through an arm wrench from Dominik. We had Rey end up hooking a side headlock on Dom. Dom ended up whipping his father off and left frog him, but Rey ended up stomping Dom's face when he ended up dropping down. Rey then ducked a clothesline from Dom, and Rey ended up hitting a head scissors takeover that sent Dom out of the ring. Rey then jumped off the apron and ended up flying her Karrion into the barricade, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Rey ended up reversing the whip into the corner. Rey ended up charging, and Dominik ended up dropping Rey crotch first on the top rope. He ended up going for the cover, to which Rey kicked out. So Dom then ended up stomping on Rey, and he ended up laying in some right hands on his father. Dominik ended up getting up. He ended up shouting, "I run this bitch." Dominik then ended up sending his father into the ropes and connected with a flying back elbow. He ended up going for the cover, to which Rey ended up kicking out. So Dominik ended up getting up. He slapped his father in the back of the head. He ended up shouting, "Come on, Rey. Let's see what you've got." So Dominik then dug his father's head into the bottom turnbuckle and started chopping him. Of course, the crowd started once again chanting, "Shave your mustache" to Dominik. Dominik then ended up whipping Rey sternum first into the opposite corner. He then put a foot on Rey's chest, and he went for the cover, to which Rey kicked out. Dom then picked his father up and whipped him into the corner, and Rey ended up knocking Dom back, ended up hitting a drop toe hold into the turnbuckles. Rey then ended up bouncing Dom's face off the middle turnbuckle a few times. He ended up going to the top rope for a flying Sea Senton. Rey then hit the ropes and connected with a springboard crossbody block to Dom. He then sent Dom into the ropes, and he rolls through a sunset flip to kick Dom in the head. So then Liv Morgan ended up running down to ringside. So Rey ended up shouldering Dominik in his midsection, but Dominik countered with a catapult into a single leg crab. Rey ended up making it to the bottom rope to break the hold. Dominik then angrily looked at Liv Morgan and started to hit Rey with the Three Amigos. Rey countered the third suplex and drop kicked Dom into position. Rey then ended up hitting the ropes for a 619, but Liv Morgan pulled Dominik out of the ring to save him. Dominik ended up getting up, and he ended up telling Liv Morgan to get out of there. Rey then ended up hitting Dominik with a baseball slide, and Dominik fell on top of Liv Morgan. That's not PG there in that spot. So Liv Morgan was elated, and she ended up grabbing Dominik. Rey then pulled his son off of Liv Morgan and put him back into the ring. Dominik then superkicked Rey and ended up hitting him with a suplex. Dominik ended up going for the cover, to which Rey kicked out. Liv Morgan then turned, and Zelina Vega ended up taking Liv Morgan down with a Lute Death Press. So both Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega were rolling around. They brawled at ringside. Zelina Vega ended up knocking Liv Morgan to the barricade. Dominik then ended up drop kicking Rey into position for the 619, to which Dominik ended up hitting the 619 to his father. Dominik then headed to the top rope. Liv Morgan ended up getting on the apron to knock Zelina Vega down. Zelina Vega then ended up kicking Liv Morgan into the ropes, inadvertently causing Dominik to get crotched on the top rope. So Rey ended up hitting Dominik with a 619 while he was in the Tree of Woe. Rey then ended up hitting a slingshot splash. He ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Rey Mysterio ended up winning the match. So post-match, Liv Morgan then apologized to Dominik at ringside. And she ended up saying to Dominik that she'll fix it. So Liv Morgan then was chasing after Dominik. And pretty much that was basically that. But overall, it was a decent match here, but I'm so over this feud with Rey and Dominik. Really am. I'm tired of it. And then we had a promo from Sheamus. Sheamus ended up saying that yesterday was 15 years, an impossible dream was realized. He's been with the company for 15 years, and he made his debut, 15 years ago in ECW, the reboot of ECW on the WWE, which fans call it WWECW. So Sheamus ended up saying that he got to step into a WWE ring and prove his doubters wrong. He ended up saying since then, he's competed against legends. He's traveled the world and made a living beating people up. He wanted to say that tonight he gets a chance to try to be a 2-time Money in the Bank winner. He ended up saying that this will be a war against Ilja Dragunov and Drew McIntyre, 2 of the hardest hitting people in the company. He ended up saying that Ilja Dragunov reminds him of himself 15 years ago. Sheamus ended up saying that as for Drew McIntyre, his so-called best mate, consistently sticking his nose in his business. Who needs enemies? Sheamus ended up saying that he has been here for 15 years and is still putting on banger after banger after banger. He ended up saying tonight he'll take one step closer to being a 5-time world champion. And Sheamus ended up saying that he's going to win Money in the Bank. And then we had Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was standing on the ring steps as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he is happy with his reception because the crowd was chanting for Sami. He ended up saying that he feels pretty good tonight and that it feels good to walk back into the TD Garden as the Intercontinental Champion. So Sami Zayn got into the ring. He circled around the ring. He ended up saying when he won the Intercontinental Championship, he said he wanted to defend it to anyone at any time. He ended up saying that his next match is set for Saturday at Money in the Bank, and that he'll defend the Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he isn't stupid, and that he hears the buzz and the chatter of Braun Breaker. He ended up saying everyone seems to think that Breaker will run through him. He ended up saying that the guy is an athletic freak. He ended up saying that he's strong as hell and fast as hell. Braun Breaker is a beast. He ended up saying that Braun Breaker is breaking guys in half every week on Raw. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he wants to say this so he's not misunderstood. Sami Zayn ended up saying, I am going to beat Braun Breaker at Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he takes nothing away from him. So that led to Braun Breaker coming out. So the crowd was barking, as Braun Breaker stepped up to Sami Zayn. I like how the crowd is, putting Braun Breaker over, with the barks. And Braun Breaker deserves that. So Breaker ended up saying that Sami Zayn gained a little of his respect last week. He ended up saying that everyone else back there is afraid of him, but not Sami. So Braun Breaker ended up saying that Sami came to find him and challenged him to a fight, and that he gave him an opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship. So Breaker ended up saying that tells him 2 things. Sami has guts and has no idea what he's in for. And on Saturday at Money in the Bank, all that respect is out the window. Braun Breaker ended up saying that he will beat Sami down and decimate him in the ring to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn then ended up asking if Braun Breaker knows how many guys have said that they'll beat him down and break him in half. He kept saying many guys have done that and beaten him down. He kept saying that it's happened 1,000 times, and 1,000 times he has put himself back together. He kept saying that's the difference between him and the guys Bron Breakker runs through every week. Sami Zayn kept saying that the proof is in the title, and that he wants Bron Breakker to try his best to take the Intercontinental Championship from him. So Sami Zayn kept saying that if he has to stand in this ring and tell Bron Breakker about who he is, it tells him that Bron Breakker hasn't done his homework. Sami Zayn was like, oh, well, maybe Bron Breakker isn't as smart as he thinks he is. He kept saying maybe Breakker isn't as good as he thinks he is. So Sami Zayn ended up saying to Breakker that he'll see him at Money in the Bank. Breakker ended up intensely looking Sami Zayn in the eyes. Breakker then turned around. He ended up going to leave the ring, but he ended up turning around and he ended up hitting Sami Zayn with a spear. Sami Zayn ended up squirming around in pain as Breakker ended up walking off. Sami Zayn then rolled out of the ring by the commentary table. Breakker then ended up charging around the ring for a spear. And Sami Zayn ended up leapfrogging over Bron Breakker, and Breakker ended up going into the ring steps hard. Sami Zayn started punching away at Breakker and put him in the ring. He ended up hitting an explosive suplex into the turnbuckles to Breakker. Sami Zayn hit the ropes for a haluva kick, but Bron Breakker ended up delivering a spear to Sami. Breakker then ripped his shirt off, and he was fired up. Breakker ended up standing over Sami Zayn, and he held the Intercontinental Championship up. Breakker then threw the title down onto Sami Zayn, and that was basically that. But Bron Breakker is a beast. This guy is a superstar, and I don't buy that, Sami Zayn can beat Bron Breakker. I think that they're going to be putting the Intercontinental Championship on Bron Breakker because of how over he is, because of how much of a beast he is, and he's over with the crowd. But I thought this was a very good segment here between these two. I'm actually looking forward to their match. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly ended up asking Dakota Kai if her failure to win impacts Io Sky's chances on Saturday. Dakota Kai ended up telling Kathy Kelly that the plan remains the same. She ended up saying that she is tired of people getting in Damage Control's business. So Lyra Valkyria walked up. She ended up telling Io Sky that she'll climb the ladder faster than her. And that led to Kaden Carter and Katana Chance end up attacking Damage Control. Adam Pearce then ran over with officials to break up the brawl between them, and pretty much that was basically that. And then we had a recap of what we saw on SmackDown on Friday, where Paul Heyman refused to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as his tribal chief, and which that led to the Bloodline end up attacking Paul Heyman, and you saw that they powerbombed Paul Heyman through the commentary table, which I thought that was a good segment there. I didn't review SmackDown because I was working, so after work I only just caught the second hour. But I thought that last segment, with the Bloodline and Paul Heyman, I thought that was very good. Very interesting. And Corey Graves, after the recap, he kept saying that he doesn't believe we'll see Paul Heyman for a long time. I think that we'll see Paul Heyman align with Roman Reigns when Roman comes back, at SummerSlam. So I think we'll be seeing Paul Heyman at SummerSlam, align with Roman Reigns, his true tribal chief. And then we had a promo from Ilja Dragunov. Dragunov ended up saying that winning Money in the Bank takes you from the bottom to the top. He ended up saying that he knows what it's like to fight from the bottom and get to the top. He ended up saying a career can be short when animals like Braun Breaker are trying to end you. He ended up saying this is the story of a different day. Dragunov ended up saying that he will fight Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, and that he will go to Toronto on Saturday to win Money in the Bank or die trying. So I thought this was a very good promo from Dragunov here. Really I'm a fan of Dragunov. He is great in the ring. All his matches have been very good and entertaining. I like how the way that Dragunov works in the ring. And then they announced what we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw. We're going to be seeing Jey Uso versus Chad Gable. And Lyra Valkyria will team up with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter to face Damage Control. So we're seeing that all next week on Monday Night Raw. Main event. The Triple Threat Money in the Bank qualifying match for one guy to be the last opponent in Money in the Bank. And it was Drew McIntyre versus Ilja Dragunov versus Sheamus. And my God, what an incredible match this was. This felt like a premium live event match here. Very good main event this was. Just all three of these guys gave it all they got. Match ended up going the way with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre appearing to ignore Ilja Dragunov. They ended up going face to face. Sheamus and McIntyre shoved Dragunov away twice. Dragunov ended up super kicking McIntyre down and kicked him out of the ring. Sheamus ended up smirking at Dragunov. Dragunov hooked a waist lock, and Sheamus ended up slinging Dragunov off. Sheamus ended up pushing Dragunov's face, and they locked up, and Sheamus shoved Dragunov. Dragunov then ended up booting Sheamus in the face, but Sheamus rebounded by hitting a clothesline to Dragunov. Sheamus then scooped Dragunov up. Dragunov ended up sliding off, ended up chopping at Sheamus' chest a few times. Sheamus ended up chopping back and shoved Dragunov into the ropes, but Dragunov came back and delivered a kick to Sheamus' face. Dragunov was chopping away at Sheamus in the corner and booted Sheamus in the face. So Dragunov ended up doing some kicks. He ended up hitting the ropes, but Sheamus ended up cutting Dragunov off with an Irish Curse backbreaker. McIntyre ran in, but Sheamus ended up also delivering an Irish Curse backbreaker to McIntyre. Sheamus then knocked Dragunov off the apron. He ended up going to ringside. He uppercutted Dragunov at ringside. McIntyre ended up decking Sheamus with a forearm to his head and threw him over the barricade. Dragunov ended up chopping McIntyre, and McIntyre scooped Dragunov up, but Dragunov slid off and shoved McIntyre into the ring post. And then Dragunov then ended up kicking McIntyre in his head. McIntyre then stumbled into the barricade, and Sheamus ended up unloading on McIntyre with the 10 beats of the Botterin. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Sheamus ended up hitting the ropes, and McIntyre ended up taking Sheamus down. Dragunov ended up stunning McIntyre with a kick to his head. Dragunov then forearmed McIntyre, but McIntyre ended up cutting Dragunov up with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. McIntyre then grabbed Dragunov, ended up delivering a second belly-to-belly suplex. McIntyre then charged Sheamus in the corner, but Sheamus ended up booting McIntyre down. Sheamus powered himself to the top rope, and he hit McIntyre with a diving clothesline. So all three guys were down. We had, later on, Dragunov headed to the top rope. He ended up hitting McIntyre with a flying senton splash. Dragunov ended up hitting the Scottish Psychopath with an H-bomb to McIntyre. So Dragunov went for the cover, and McIntyre ended up kicking out. So then Monday Night Raw went to another commercial. Monday Night Raw came back, and Dragunov ended up hitting McIntyre with a German suplex, as McIntyre ended up hitting Sheamus with a superplex, which that was awesome. That was a good spot there. The crowd really loved that spot. So Dragunov ended up covering McIntyre. McIntyre kicked out. Dragunov then ended up covering Sheamus. Sheamus ended up kicking out. Crowd's chanting, "This is awesome." Sheamus then elbowed Dragunov and sent him into the ropes, but Dragunov rebounded with a Constantine special on Sheamus. Sheamus then rolled out of the ring. Dragunov ended up charging at McIntyre, but McIntyre ended up hitting Dragunov with the Glasgow Kiss. McIntyre started to count down for the Claymore, but Dragunov ended up cutting McIntyre off with a Torpedo Moscow, and McIntyre ended up rolling out of the ring. So Dragunov ended up going for a coast-to-coast attack on Sheamus, but Sheamus kneed Dragunov out of midair. Sheamus ended up going for the cover, and Dragunov kicked out. So Sheamus ended up rocking Dragunov with a bro kick. He ended up going for the cover, and McIntyre pulled Dragunov out of the ring. McIntyre then sent Dragunov into the Timekeeper's area. So we had Sheamus then smashing McIntyre's chest with the 10 beats of the Botterin. Sheamus then went for the bro kick, but McIntyre countered that into a roll-up, to which Sheamus kicked out. Sheamus then ended up kneeing McIntyre in the face. He hit the ropes, and then McIntyre, from out of nowhere, delivered the Claymore to Sheamus. So McIntyre ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Drew McIntyre ended up winning the match, so he now joins LA Knight, Chad Gable, Carmelo Hayes, Jey Uso, and Andrade in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So post-match, Kathy Kelly got into the ring to interview McIntyre. So McIntyre took the microphone from Kathy Kelly. McIntyre ended up saying that he would win this war, and did it. He ended up saying this Saturday he's heading to Toronto to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he will become World Heavyweight Champion. McIntyre then put on CM Punk's bracelet, and he posed as Monday Night Raw went off the air. Overall, incredible main event this was. All three guys gave it all they got. Dragunov is just amazing in the ring. And overall, very entertaining. And the crowd really enjoyed it as well. But overall, Monday Night Raw, very good show it was tonight. Really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to Money in the Bank as well on Saturday. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. And I'll go over my thoughts on Forbidden Door in my Dynamite review, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all then.